What if your game didn't fit the era, but was still perfect? Shaun Livingston didn't drain threes. He didn't post people up and never led the league in points. But what he did do, he made the shots. The kind that no one else wanted. Mid-range, fadeaways, turnarounds. He was a quiet fire. And when the game tried to move on without him, he came back colder than ever. Before the bright lights, before the injuries, before the championships, there was just a kid from Peoria, Illinois. Long arms, calm eyes, and a handle so smooth it looked like he was pulling strings on a puppet. Shaun Livingston didn't play like a high schooler. He glided. At 6'7", he saw over defenses like a chess master, setting up teammates 2 moves ahead. While others chased dunks and crossovers, Livingston made the game look like poetry, effortless, quiet, deadly. In 2004, he earned the title of McDonald's All-American, standing shoulder to shoulder with LeBron James. Not just participating, co-MVP. That year, scouts weren't just impressed. They were stunned. A tall point guard with court vision and maturity beyond his age. The whispers started. He's the next Magic. Livingston had options. Top colleges lined up at his doorstep, but he had already figured something out. He didn't need college. He was ready. So he jumped straight to the 2004 NBA draft.
The 4th pick in the 2004 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Clippers select Shaun Livingston from Peoria Central High School.
The LA Clippers took him 4th overall. They weren't just betting on talent, they were betting on feel. Because while the league was filled with explosive guards and high flyers, Livingston offered something rarer: control. In a game that was speeding up, Shaun Livingston had the nerve to slow it down. He wasn't chasing the future, he was about to rewrite it. But as Shaun Livingston was finding his rhythm in the league, everything shattered in one horrifying instant. February 26, 2007, Clippers vs. Bobcats. It started like any other fast break. Livingston stole the ball and sprinted toward the rim. One dribble, one leap. And then they landed awkwardly, his knee buckling inwards in a way that no human joint should. He had torn his ACL, PCL, MCL, and meniscus. His kneecap was dislocated. His tibia was dislocated. It wasn't just a basketball injury, it was a life-altering trauma. Doctors didn't just worry about his career. They worried about saving his leg from amputation. The Clippers waived him. Teams stopped calling. Analysis quietly closed the books. Basketball is done for him, they said. He went silent, but not out of defeat, out of focus. He learned how to walk again, then how to jog, then how to shoot. Day after day, year after year, no cameras, no contracts. Just him and the belief that the game wasn't done with him yet. Rehab wasn't a phase. It became a full-time job, and slowly, painfully, something started to return. Not the bounce, but the fire. They tried to close his chapter, but he was just rewriting the plot. The comeback didn't happen overnight. In fact, for a long time, it didn't feel like a comeback at all. It felt like a survival. One day, contracts, bench minutes, team after team. Livingston wasn't just chasing stardom anymore. He was just trying to stay in the league. The explosiveness was gone. The spotlight faded. But behind the scenes, something was rebuilding. His mind, his footwork, and his feel for the game. He didn't storm back onto the court with a headline-making moment. He returned one quiet possession at a time. Until suddenly, he wasn't just back. He was better, smarter, and more dangerous than anyone had ever expected. Between 2008 and 2013, Shaun Livingston became what the NBA calls a journeyman, bouncing between 9 different teams: the Heat, Thunder, Wizards, Bucks, Cavaliers, and more. 1-year contracts, 10-day trials, a few minutes here, a few points there. No headlines, no guaranteed roles. He wasn't the same athlete anymore. The explosiveness was gone. The speed, the vertical, the quick first step, all left in that gym in 2007. But what Livingston lost in athleticism, he replaced with something else: wisdom. The game began to slow down, and he leaned into it. Instead of trying to outrun defenders, he backed them down. Instead of racing to the rim, he floated into the mid-range, smooth fadeaways. He became a 6'7" puzzle that smaller guards couldn't solve. No longer a highlight machine, but a problem. He wasn't the same kid from Peoria anymore, but somehow he was becoming the player he was always meant to be. Slowly, people started to notice, not because he wowed the crowd, but because he rarely made mistakes. He wasn't flashy, he was just fundamental, and in a league obsessed with speed and range, that made him quietly dangerous. By now, Shaun Livingston had carved out a role, dependable, disciplined, and quietly effective. But what he needed was the right stage. The Warriors signed him to back up Steph, and Steve Kerr instantly saw his value. In a team built on threes, Livingston was the perfect contrast. No deep shots, just calm mid-range post-ups. While the Splash Brothers launched from 30 feet, he quietly scored like it was still 1998. He became the second unit general, calm, controlled, deadly. His mid-range shot, automatic. He'd rise up onto the baseline, fade slightly over a smaller defender, and drop it in like clockwork. Every time. Teammates trusted him, coaches leaned on him. Fans, at first, they didn't notice him until they did. Draymond Green put it best. When Shaun rose up, it was done. From 2015 to 2018, Shaun Livingston became a 3-time NBA champion. He was never a star. That was Curry, KD, Clay. But he was the steady pulse behind the chaos. His numbers never popped off the stat sheet, but somehow, his 8 points off the bench felt like 20. In 2016 NBA Finals, Game 1, he gave the world a glimpse of exactly who he was. With the stars struggling, it was Livingston who stepped up, dropping 20 points off the bench with surgical precision, just mid-range mastery. While the league celebrated deep shooting and analytics, Livingston quietly revived a dying art. The mid-range jumper, calm fadeaways, turnarounds from the elbow, one-dribble pull-ups. His rhythm was so smooth, defenders barely knew when to jump. He reminded people that sometimes the most dangerous shot is the one no one wants to take anymore. Livingston didn't need range, he had rhythm. And in the biggest game on the biggest stage, rhythm was all that he needed. The game forgot about mid-range killers until one walked back in. Shaun Livingston didn't just retire with rings, he retired with respect. Not just because of what he overcame, but how he played. Because his story isn't just about basketball, it's about adaptation in a world obsessed with speed and spectacle. Throughout his career, he made 1,309 mid-range jump shots, and somehow, he didn't miss a single one of them. In a league that chased the three-point line like gold, Livingston carved out a lane of his own. A quieter lane. He lost his explosiveness. At one point, he nearly lost his leg, but instead of forcing himself to be what the game was becoming, he made the game bend to him. There were no deep threes, no flashy dunks, no viral clips that lit up social media. Shaun Livingston didn't need any of that. What he brought to the game was quieter, but far more deadly. Just the sound of a perfectly arched mid-range jumper, clean, smooth, snapping through the net again and again, like clockwork. In an era obsessed with three-pointers and highlight reels, Livingston played like he had stepped out of a different time. And yet, he wasn't outdated, he was timeless. While the rest of the league spread to the floor and hunted triples, Shaun operated in that in-between space that most players had abandoned. The shot modern analytics told teams to avoid, but analytics can't measure everything. They can't capture the chill in the defender's spine. When Livingston backed them down, turned over his shoulder, and rose into a fadeaway he'd practiced 10,000 times. They can't calculate poise. They can't quantify rhythm. He didn't need to shoot from 30 feet to make his presence felt, because when Shaun Livingston rose up, defenders didn't bother contesting. They already knew. He didn't shoot threes, he just never missed. He is the man who lost everything and quietly became unforgettable.